Amalgam Comics. We analyzed the rest of the first wave of 1996. In 1996, the world's two largest superhero comic book publishers went on the hunt for fan dollars by publishing Marvel vs. DC, a monumental crossover between characters from both comic houses. At one point in the plot, the two universes merge, creating an entire reality inhabited by beings that turn out to be a mixture of the characteristics of different characters. Many of them starred in a set of specials under the banner of a fictitious publisher called Amalgam Comics. That material is what we will review now. The concept of the Amalgam Comics titles is quite simple. As its name indicates, the idea was to merge and mix two Marvel and DC characters into one, and make a one-shot starring the new creations. There were two batches of amalgams, the first associated with Marvel vs. DC, and the second to its sequel, All Access. Starting from that premise, the experiment had interesting results, or at least funny or entertaining. Although there are some quite mediocre, most are of greater interest than the mother series. We had the debut of these characters on the last page of number 3 of Marvel vs. DC. There, with a quite forgettable drawing by Dan Jurgens, we met several of them: Dr. Doomsday, Dr. Doom plus Doomsday, Amazon, Storm plus Wonder Woman, Dr. Strange Fate, Dr. Fate plus Dr. Strange, Night Creeper, Nightcrawler plus Creeper, Deadeye, Deadshot plus Bullseye, Lethal, Cheetah plus Kraven, and Wraith, Gambit plus Obsidian. All the stories of the specials are independent. As a joke, they make references to events that occurred earlier in the imaginary timeline of the characters, often making footnote calls about numbers that do not actually exist. Of course, there are characters that are repeated in some titles, or at least are named in other specials, but the stories are made to be enjoyed separately. Likewise, I consider that to fully enjoy each issue, and all the winks that we find in its pages, it is essential to know both components of the amalgams, because if you are only a fan of DC or Marvel, so much information at once can be cloying. And if not, that's what the wiki exists for. Magneto and the Magnetic Men. As its name indicates, this special features Magneto, amalgamation of Magneto plus Will Magnus, accompanied by the Magnetic Men, in turn mixtures of the Brotherhood of Mutants and the Metal Men. On their journey they will have to face Sinistron, Brainiac plus Mr. Sinister plus Nimrod plus Ultron. This is a robot created by Will Magnus, Eric's evil brother, in revenge and resentment for always being in the shadow of his blood relation. Will is also the creator of the Sentinels of this universe. To oppose him, Magneto created the Magnetic Men, androids who remember the image of their fallen comrades. The issue is written by Gerard Jones, with drawings by Jeff Matsuda and inks by Art Thibbert. If you like the Ameri manga style, you'll love Matsuda's drawing, because he, along with Joe Madureira, embodies such a 90s current like no other, loved and hated alike. Therefore, we will find big eyes and clenched teeth, but also a lot of dynamism and vertigo in the action scenes. X-Patrol. This amalgamation between X-Force and the Doom Patrol was written by Carl Kessel together with his wife Barbara Kessel, with drawings by Roger Cruz and inks by John Holdridge. In this issue, members of the X-Men, X-Force, Doom Patrol, and Teen Titans merge to create Shatterstar Starfire/Shatterstar, Niles Cable, Cable/Niles Calder, Beastling, Beast/Changeling, Pharaoh Man, Colossus/Robot Man, among others. Here we will get to know one of the most original amalgams, Dial Husk, a mixture of Dial H, a device similar to a telephone, which turns you into a different hero, with different powers, every time you dial Hero, and Husk from Generation X. Touching the dial emulates Wonder Man first, Dr. Polaris second, and Mary Marvel Girl, Mary Marvel plus Marvel Girl, last. After several origin stories, these misunderstood will come together for the first time to face their fiercest adversary, Dr. Doomsday, Doomsday/Dr. Doom, in a story that packs everything we can expect from this line, sympathetic but forgettable plots. Roger Cruz also uses that Amerimanga style that I mentioned, but he is a less advanced student. He does a good job, but the excess of cleavage and fan service hampers the seriousness of his work. Amazon, Storm plus Wonder Woman. Following Darkseid/Galactus, The Hunger, John Byrne returns to act as full author in a DC/Marvel crossover, supported by Terry Austin's inks. The protagonist is Princess Aurora of Themyscira, a mutant Amazon with Storm's face and body. The suit is a nice fusion between the two, keeping things from each suit without modifying them too much. In her pages we will also see Diana appear, the true Wonder Woman, although it is the X-Woman who takes the leading role. The story tells the story of little Aurora Monroe, who after the death of her parents is rescued by the Amazons and raised by Queen Hippolyta on the island of Themyscira. After arduous training, Aurora earned the right to wear the mantle of Wonder Woman, to be an ambassador to the human world. Already in the present, our protagonist is captured by the claws of the god Poseidon. In the artistic part, unfortunately Byrne is far from his best times. There are a couple of good vignettes, but overall the drawings of him seem rather rushed and sloppy. Assassins, Elektra plus Catwoman and Daredevil plus Deathstroke the Terminator. Written by Dan Chichester, with drawings by Scott McDaniel and inks by Derek Fisher. The issue combines characters related to Batman and Daredevil, with Cat's Eye being the obvious mix of Catwoman and Elektra, and Dare the Terminator being the other two, albeit in a female version. The issue begins with the death of Deadeye, a mixture of Deadshot and Bullseye, but his main enemy is Enigma Fisk, Riddler plus Kingpin, Gotham's greatest villain, who sends mercenaries to kill our favorite femme fatale, Lethal, Cheetah plus Kraven the Hunter, and Wired, Cable plus Manhunter. The script is pretty bad, to be honest. It's full of blushing dialogue, and the characters, especially Dare, have personalities that don't match any of their predecessors. Scott McDaniel's art is interesting, with a very personal style reminiscent of a cross between Jay Lee and Andrea Sorrentino. He has good moments, both in narration and in designs, being that section the best of the number. Doctor Strange Fate, Doctor Strange plus Dr. Fate. Written by Ron Mars, with drawings by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez and inks by Kevin Nolan. The most important Lord of Order in Amalgam, Dr. Strange Fate, will do whatever it takes to preserve the universe from him. He even eliminates Access, the new neighborhood hero. Arguably, and because it's written by Mars, this is the most important issue of the Amalgams, having something to do with the DC versus Marvel story itself, even mentioned in number 4 of the miniseries, with Access hanging around. The issue is that Dr. Strange Fate knows that Access does not belong to the amalgamated universe, and that he is going to try to return things to his original state, separated, and Doctor does not want that, but his intention is preserve the universe from him. The art of Garcia Lopez, a true legend of pencils, is really very good, giving an elegance and distinction to these pages that few of his companions in his collection have. Nolan's support is key, as the inker is one of those artists who really makes his influence felt, with a very distinctive style. This makes this number, if not the best, one of the best when it comes to art. Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Bruce Wayne plus Nick Fury. Driven by the murder of his parents, an embittered billionaire focuses his fury by creating the first espionage strike force in the Amalgam universe. Now Wayne and his agents must save the East Coast from the Green Skull's predation. In the issue, Selena Luthor, daughter of the Green Skull, apparently kills her father and takes control of Hydra, along with various fused villains from the worlds of Batman and Nick Fury. Bruce Wayne is joined by Mooning, Nightwing plus Moon Knight, and Black Bat, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon plus Natasha Romanoff. Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., an amalgamation of Bruce Wayne plus Nick Fury, is written by Chuck Dixon, with drawings by Cary Nord and inks by Mark Pennington. And the truth is that it is one of the pleasant surprises that we find in this first wave, combining in a great way the detective streak of the Caped Crusader, with the world of high espionage of Nick Fury and the environment of S.H.I.E.L.D. The ugly style of Cary Nord's stroke prints the proper mysterious atmosphere of such a story, enhancing the final result. Speed Demon, Flash plus Ghost Rider plus Etrigan. Blaze Allen teams up with his nephew Wally in a race against time and hell itself to retrieve the spirit of Green Goblin. If they fail, Night Spectre will win the keys to the realm of the damned. This issue is written by Howard Mackey and James Felder, with drawings by Salvador Larroca and inks by Al Milgrom. The special has one of the most spectacular covers of the line, referring to hundreds of panels or covers that show Flash in that position or something similar, and it is quite dynamic. It is not a cover of extreme originality, but it stands out among a majority of medium hair covers. Speed Demon is an amalgamation of Flash's speed, Ghost Rider's flaming skull, and Etrigan's rhymes, one more example of why the rhyming Etrigan is best avoided, unless you really have a knack for it, although it has more attributes of each character. Blaze Allen is a motorcycle specialist, and amateur mystic, bonded with a demon named Etrigan, who can transform him into the Speedy Speed Demon. The bad guy is Night Spectre, a weird mix of Spectre and Nightmare, with a few more villains, like a Two-Face / Green Goblin hybrid named Harvey Osborn. It can be said that the story flows very organically. The characters in this comic are the classics of the 90s, a phrase that can often be read as an insult, but not in this case. Speed Demon fits the role of a 90s hero perfectly, being on the side of good on paper, but one who will incinerate pretty much anyone in his path. The enemy of his is quite oblique, and wants to collect souls of pure good and evil to gain control of hell, heaven, and earth, with Speed Demon opposing him so that the soul of his beloved Iris may rest in peace. With this, the first batch of the Amalgam experiment ends, with results that are generally quite varied, as is natural in such a varied fauna of titles. It is true that only 22 pages to present a story within a new universe, which merges two companies of different characters, and which in turn must be coherent on its own, is quite difficult to do. From this point of view, the authors can be excused a little, although it is undeniable that this is where the commercial desire of the publishers is most noticeable, which perhaps could have taken a longer time to mature certain ideas. But the truth is that with such a variety of specials, in more than one you will find something for you. Whether it's because you like the source characters, because you follow the work of the writers, or because you get hooked on the style of some artist, the good thing is that there is variety for everyone. If that justifies the time invested in leafing through them, it is already something that depends on each one. Therefore, its value is more on the side of editorial curiosity, and for being a specific photograph of a given decade, than for its literary level. Thank you for visiting our channel about comics and pop culture. Subscribe to Uncanny Collectibles for more exclusive information, news, and scoops.